Alright, today we're going to be cleaning the 22. This is my first video with an actual gun in it, and I'll tell you what, boys, it feels great to be back in business. Now, as you can see here, it is empty. There ain't nothing in it. It's a little Marlin 60 semi-auto 22. This was my first gun. This is my baby, and she's dirty, so she needs a little TLC. I'm going to show y'all how I clean this gun, and this is the way that works best for me. So the general disassembly, it's going to be the same no matter how you clean it or what you use. But I use these right here, Hops number 9 microfiber field care wipes. Reason why, they've got a nice little cloth texture to them that really picks up dirt and powder residue really well, and they are just moist enough to where they lubricate it just right to where the gun functions correctly, yet it's not under lubricated and it's not dripping with oil, so that unburnt powder residue sticks that much easier and dirt gets in there and gums everything up that much easier. So follow along and we'll go through it. So your first step's kind of a no-brainer. You need a good clean stable surface to work on. I got good, I got clean right now, so 2 out of 3 ain't bad. First thing you're going to do, this screw here and this screw right here, directly behind the trigger guard. You're going to unscrew those to get the stock off. So, put this where y'all can see it. I'm going to take a flathead screwdriver and try not to nick my stock. And I'm not doing very well at that. No, I didn't leave a mark. Loosen it, and I usually just, once I can get it loose enough to do with my fingers, I just pull it out. Stick it somewhere where it ain't gonna roll away. Same with this one. Get it loose. And there you go. Now your stock's gonna come off. Me, I have to do an extra step that I didn't show on camera. I have these. These are pressure pads for a tactical light and a laser. I have to detach those so the action and barrel assembly, which obviously my scope is mounted on the receiver, which is part of the action assembly, isn't stuck to the isn't tethered to the stock. So once those screws are unscrewed, there you go. Lift, pull away. Stick your stock somewhere it's going to be safe and not fall over. A benefit that I love for having my bipod on there. Makes it easier to do that. Alright. Next, put this down here better where y'all can see. Next, there is this little pin right here. It's held in place. You just push it out. Bam. There you go. Stick that where it ain't going to be lost. Then, let me see if I can situate this better without dropping everything. Then, obviously your next step, you're going to take this off. Okay. This is an action assembly right here. You've got your hammer. You've got your sear all enclosed in this. You have your bolt release, your bolt lock, which is right here, that little metal tab that's moving. And you have your ejector rod, that little wire sticking up right here. And you have your block. This has got the feed ramp, which is that little shiny part in the middle there. You've got your feed throat, which is that right there, that big hole in the center. And you have your feed lip, which is that right there. This pushes the rounds up in front of the bolt when the bolt slams forward. Now, this is supposed to be shiny like a new penny. As you can tell, it's not. It's filthy. So, that's going to get some TLC. Proceeding on with the disassembly. Always make sure you take your magazine guide rod out. The long tubular rod looking deal. And then, last but not least, your bolt has to come out. This may be wrong, but I have yet to mess it up doing it this way. The first thing you're going to do is take it. I'm trying to get this at an angle where y'all can see it. Just take it, pull it back just a hair, not a whole lot, just a hair, and a very fine tip screwdriver, very fine tip flathead. Be very careful not to jam it in there between the ejector claws, the extraction claws. That's what I meant to say, because it will bend them, it will mess them up, and if they get messed up, well then obviously the gun won't eject rounds because it has nothing to grab the rounds with. Your bolt handle, that right there, it's a separate piece. It just slides out. It's held in place. It's held in place by the bolt when it's in place. This is out of the way now. It is loose, so you are going to very carefully, because it is under tension from the recoil spring, lift it up and pull it out. Because if you don't hold it, when it comes free, it will shoot across the room. And at worst, go flying, or at best, go flying and land somewhere you can not get it all that easily. At worst, put somebody's eye out or hit someone really hard in the head. You have your recoil spring and your guide rod. They're two separate pieces. They just slip over top of one another like that, and they come apart just as easy. It doesn't matter which end you put on there, so they both fit on there just the same, and they both fit inside the bolt just the same. That little hole right there, that's what your spring goes in. Again, it just slips right in. You ain't got to screw it. You ain't got to tweak it any special way, and either end is going to go in there. Doesn't matter which end you put in. Alright? All Marlin 60s are like that. Now, here comes the fun part. This is where the gun wipes come into play. You take the wipe, take that screwdriver, you get it in there, in those little hard to reach corners and whatnot, where dirt and unburnt powder residue love to build up. And pointy Q-tips work great for this too. And if you're in the Army like I was, then you know all about using Q-tips to clean guns. That is only after about 50 rounds. That's not the dirtiest this gun's ever been, but that's still pretty dirty compared to how I normally keep it. And I really let this gun fester a little bit for you guys for this video. Alright? After you've got the corners good, obviously that's a short version of what I normally do. You go in there and you just wipe it down. Everywhere. Everywhere that finger is going to fit, that's what you're going to wipe down. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter where it is, doesn't matter if any parts touch it, wipe it all down. Because once you pull the trigger, yeah, right there, isn't that sexy? Once you pull the trigger, even if there's a little bit of dirt way back here where nothing touches, that air from that burning gas, those forces, is going to blow it and knock it loose, and then it's just going to it'll spread dirt. It'll spread soot, and it'll spread that unburnt powder residue and copper and lead fouling. So just get in there, wipe it all down. Doesn't matter if anything touches it or not, just wipe it all down. Alright? Alright, Now the receiver is done. You can see it's nice and sparkly. It's pretty. Alright? There's no dirt, soot, or lead or copper fouling or unburnt powder residue or anything like that left in this area. This is good. Alright? So we're going to set this aside as best as we can for now. The next thing to get our attention is the bolt handle. As you notice, I'm going in the reverse order, so I can start putting the gun back together as I go along. Now, same thing. You're going to wipe it down. This, you do have to wipe down everything because every part of this bolt handle at some point or another is touching something. It might be your fingers with the actual handle, or this whole part right here. Just wipe it down till you see nothing left on the bolt. And if you really need to, then just get that screwdriver out again and get these little corners in here, these little sharp corners where your fingers can't really get to, especially if you don't have fingernails. Unlike me, I have them. I keep them for a reason. Now, this little sucker, it's clean. And I usually wipe down the bolt handle itself simply because that's just extra little bit of gun oil to help protect it from rusting and all that other fun stuff. Alright, that's done. Another point, that's why you want an area that's clean, because you're putting oily parts down on top of it, and if it's not clean and it's dusty, well then you're just reintroducing dust to the gun, and you may as well have not cleaned it to begin with. Alright, next, your recoil spring. Now you don't have to do this in any particular order, just so long as the parts all get cleaned. Now, to clean it, all you do is you take that cloth, wrap it around it, and just twist it through. And it'll screw itself through the cloth, and it'll pick up any of that unburnt powder residue or lead or copper fouling that got blown around in there from the action of the gun working, and then twist it right back the opposite way to make sure you got everything. This doesn't really take a whole lot to clean. This is actually probably the easiest part of the gun to clean, is the recoil spring. Keep twisting it through, and bam. That shiny spring that looked clean, that came off it right here. Damn cloth. That came off it right there, and that right there. Alright, that rag is done. Some people use them till they're completely blacked out. I don't, because then you're just, again, you're spreading filth around. Alright, your guide rod. This is what holds that spring in place when it's under tension and that bolt is going back and forth on it. Same thing. Stick it in between, grab one end and just pull it through. Just like the dipstick on your car when you're wiping it off. Do it again, twist it a little bit, and bam. Second wipe, first wipe. Set that aside. Now your bolt. This is the heart of the gun. This has the firing pin. These little claws right there that you see sticking out in front of it, those are your extractor claws. Those are what grip the empty casing when it needs to be ejected. Those are what you don't want to damage with this. Grab it, wipe it down. This is not rocket science. You're going to wipe down every single part of this bolt until it shines like a brand new freshly minted penny at Fort Knox. Alright,